Hey, everything's going crazy. Hi, Lauren. Hey, sorry everybody. I just wanted to tell everyone sorry for screwing up your show, Lauren. It's not
That's
my
all right.
fault. I blame the internet gremlins, and I'm
That's
going
all
to do
right.
that again.
Hey,
So,
that's what happens with the internet. But
yeah.
tonight this is Lauren Meadows with the Buddy Martin Show. Tonight we have Rob Brown from SEC Sidelines to kind of iron out what's going on with the Gators with this quarterback situation. And about 9:20, we're gonna have an exclusive interview with Florida Gator basketball commit CJ Ingram, Gator legacy son of Gator great Cornelius Ingram, and he's going to talk to us just a little bit about his decision to become a Gator, focus solely on basketball. So it's going to be a great show tonight.
Or Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Buddy Martin. I'm your host, Lauren Meadows with GatorbaitMedia.com with Rob Brown from SEC Sidelines. How you doing, Rob?
Good, man. I'm telling you what, they are demons on the internet. I mean, last week, half my phone conversations one day, I felt like I was talking to R2-D2 on the other line with all that crunchy noise, you get when the internet signal's not good. So,
it happens, man. It's one of those things. It's been a rough 2 weeks around this joint, and we're gonna talk about that. We want to say hello to Tommy Seal, Robert Turner, Marcus Martin, my boy Nat Blaylock. When you see that like and subscribe button, go ahead and hit it, and we'll continue to get down to what we need to get to. But Rob, I mean, I know you follow those Auburn Tigers, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But little tough one out there. How's everybody doing?
good, but when things get bad, you recommend the fans drive to the games with their lights on. It's not that bad yet, but if it doesn't get better soon, drive to the games with your lights on.
Right.
But no, thank God we've got Brendan. I mean, you and I are smart people. He's on another level because this stuff that goes on, we had something yesterday and he was, guiding me through it, and our guest, and you learn something every time. But I think, you know what? Florida, Auburn, all the resources in the world, both, struggling here in the beginning, but a long way to go. You can't panic. And one of my friends told me that Peyton Thorne, as much as he's struggling at Auburn, the guys behind him, like Hank Brown, he's probably the best passer, but the least athletic. You better figure it out quickly because, like people say, your coach making $7 million a year. It's, you can't say anymore, oh, that's somebody's son. He's just an 18-year-old kid. Not if he's making $500,000. Gloves are off. And like Chuck Oliver said earlier today to the head coaches out there making all that money, 3 words for you: figure it out. And I saw DJ Lagway. He's scary. His pocket presence, Brendan, and you and both have talked about him. I want to hear about this guy. I'm excited. Y'all got a quarterback.
Speaking of figuring it out, and that's where we are with this thing. And I think that one of the issues is, I've heard it given to me a million different ways. Is I think the Gators do have a quarterback, but matter of fact, they have 2. And I was told by an old coach one day that, if you have 2, you have none.
That's right.
And, now Urban Meyer would say that he debunked that theory in 2006. But, there's an interesting situation here for the Florida Gators. And I'm going to just be frank. I don't think Billy Napier can win. And what I mean by that is, you walk a young man into the room, you walk them both in, and you say, okay, you know, for hypothetical purposes, we go with DJ Lagway, right?
Mm-hmm.
DJ Lagway's a starter, had a great game against Sanford, things like that. Well, the first question that the other young man might ask is, well, coach, what did I do? Because all I've done is thrown 27 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I don't play defense, so I didn't give up. I didn't give up 500 yards to Miami. I didn't do. Now, obviously, Graham Mertz is not that kind of kid, but in his mind, that's what he's thinking because, what Graham Mertz does give you that I think might limit you with DJ Lagway is total control of the offense. You got everything at your disposal. Now with DJ Lagway, you don't have to maybe have as much because you have the athletic component and there's the threat of the QB run. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's one of those things, but I think based on what we saw 2 weeks ago and then what we saw against Sanford, even though Sanford is not even a great Sanford team. I mean, they gave up 212 yards rushing to West Georgia, 275 yards passing. I mean, they gave up 500 yards to them as well. The question is this, any decision he makes, he could make the decision to start Lagway and everybody be happy. And that's what the majority of the fan base, I think, wants. But then the question is, if Lagway struggles, then they say, well, maybe you should have went with Mertz, or do you bring Mertz out the bullpen and have him on reserve? But like I said, you're talking about a young man who is very popular in his own huddle and within the hallways of the Heavener Center. I mean, it is not cut and dry. Particularly, you love what Lagway did, and you can't deny that. But, when you look at the opponent, and I don't agree with Billy Napier much, but he continuously touched on that this was not Miami, who could be a playoff team. We'll see. It wasn't a Texas A&M or down the road, a Miami, or a Georgia or somebody like that. So I think you're in a position where you have a quarterback that's had some success, and then you go from there. So Rob, you guys have had that a couple times down at Auburn and things like that. In my opinion, I think it's a no-win situation.
It's tough. Because it's really whoever the guys in the locker room believe the most in, and they're gonna. The free market always wins, and the locker room always wins. That's what you got to be careful of. But as good as DJ Lagway looked against Sanford, it's different. Receivers were blowing by defensive backs in that game. They won't be doing that against Texas A&M. And we talk about all the talent Texas A&M has. Don't forget, Ole Miss was number 1 in the class of the portal class this past year, back in the spring. The second best portal class was, guess who? Texas A&M. So yep. This is a big game because it's the next game. But I like the way you drew up the picture. It's a no-win situation. Mertz, I don't play defense. That's a great argument. And it's like, okay, maybe you can play them both. You just got to find a way to keep the locker room together. You don't want to have a situation like they have over in Tallahassee. And that's yeah.
Right. And I want to make a point, and I think this is important as well for the sake of both young men. They are extremely close.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that Billy does have going for him and the staff, when you talk about from a football sense, mm-hmm. is they are very much into rooting for one another. They hear the story of Graham Mertz taking Lagway individually during walkthrough and walking through the plays and the game plan and things like that. And DJ was very, very supportive of Mertz and spoke highly of Mertz in the press conference of helping him prepare for his first collegiate start. So if you play both, I think now, like I said, it's no guarantee, but because both young men have done really well building a relationship, almost like big brother, little brother, mm-hmm. in a good way, I think that the locker room may, rally around both players. But like you said, Rob, if they don't stop anybody, it doesn't matter who plays quarterback.
Correct.
And I think that's what's lost on all this conversation as bad as Mertz played, as bad as the offense was in Miami, with respect to my guys like Tyreek Sapp and Justice Boone and Shamar James, who are dialed in and seem to really be bought into what this thing is doing on defense, they're not making many plays right now. And even against Samford early in the game, Samford had some success, slippery kind of quarterback, things like that. And this will be the third kind of slippery quarterback that they've seen in Cam Ward, Quincy Crittenden, and now Connor Wigman, guys that can create on the run, can kind of play off schedule, and Florida struggle with that. So, as much has been made about the quarterback position, they're a little dinged up in the secondary, so it's going to take some effort, no matter who plays quarterback, to kind of stymie that Texas A&M offense, who maybe found a little footing against McNeese. Same thing, it was McNeese, and maybe go from there. And then you look at the loss to Notre Dame. Well, what does that mean now that Notre Dame couldn't even muster, 14 points against Northern Illinois? So, I think that's where we are, Rob, and we could spin it a lot of different ways. But like I was talking to one of my high school teammates earlier, it is still kind of a program in flux, so to speak, and they're looking to kind of put it all together here against Texas A&M.
Yeah, they're going to be a trophy win. Florida looks at this, and it's going to tell you a lot about your team. Look at quarterback is without a quarterback, you're dead. Nothing will happen. And if you got two, you're right. You don't have one. But the fact that these two guys, DJ Lagway and Graham Mertz, have a great relationship, that will help. And I think if they really do have a great relationship, whichever one gives the team the best chance to win, the other one's going to be rooting for him. And that will carry over because the offensive lineman will see that, and the rest of the players, offense, defense, it all depends on how they handle it. I like their chances of figuring it out based on what you have told everybody here tonight. Because you have credibility because you know these guys.
Absolutely. And tonight we got a little treat for our viewers, kind of an exclusive interview. But before we go to it, we're going to talk about our sponsors, Meldon Law, the only official law firm of the Florida Gators. Meldon Law, we won't back down. And with that, we welcome to the program Florida Gator basketball commit, Gator legacy, future NBA player, CJ Ingram. How you doing, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
Good to see you, man. It's a lot of people excited about you being in the fold and joining the Gators. Actually, it's a basketball commit, even though a lot of people may know your father, Cornelius Ingram, who was tight end on the national championship team, has done well as a coach, also a football coach at Hawthorne. Congratulations on state title. A lot of people may not know you quarterbacked that team to consecutive state football titles, but now we're into football. And, Rob, CJ was one of those guys that kind of made the commitment to basketball, didn't have a lot of offers from basketball, but was thought more of a football player. But then this summer kind of exploded on the scene and will be joining the Gators. Actually, I guess you're going to be a senior summer enrollee after. Yes. Okay, so next summer basically. But talk to us a little bit about that, CJ, the whirlwind and your rise to prominence, where you got offers from Kansas, Vanderbilt, Pitt, Georgetown, and then ultimately came to decide on the Gators.
It was a crazy process, definitely, especially while being recruited with football. It was kind of difficult trying to stay focused on being recruited in basketball as well. So especially when I had AAU teammates, that all had Power 5 offers, probably around 10th grade, 9th, 10th grade. But, I was still battling with basketball and football, not really knowing what I wanted to do yet. So this past spring, I had to make the decision and, not focus too much on spring football. But I actually practiced one time spring for football, and then I was basically just training for basketball, getting ready for camps and AAU tournaments. And when my opportunity presented itself, I executed. So I'm just blessed to be in the position that I'm in, and thankful and, to have the offers and then being able to commit to where I'm at right now.
That's good, man. So what was the moment where, because like I said, I know you went into the summer really trying to get after it and really announce yourself as a bona fide, top ranked recruit in basketball. Was there a moment in one of these AAU tournaments where you were like, okay, it's really starting to click and people are starting to notice, and now I'm on the radar?
It probably wasn't even AAU. It was probably the high school live period when I played with my AAU coach, Coach Reese. I played with Oak Ridge over the summer, and then that tournament, it was a open live period where all the coaches could see it. And then I just played. I played free. I was able to display everything that I had, everything my game presented, passing. I scored the ball pretty well that weekend. Obviously defending and playing hard. So that was probably the tournament where I realized that I could really be in the NBA, and I think a lot of coaches realized that as well. And that's pretty much where everything kicked off at.
Okay, so Mr. Rob down there at the bottom, he's an Auburn guy, and they had a guy named Charles Barkley out of Leeds, Alabama, that came along and decided to stay close to home and that kind of thing when he was coming out of school. What does it mean for you when you chose Florida? And you could talk to some of the other schools that kind of had a hard play at you and maybe factored into the decision, but deciding to stay close to home, your father's alma mater, following in his footsteps, so to speak. I know he played football and basketball a little bit as well, but when it really came down to it, what put Florida on top?
Honestly, the coach that recruited me, Torian Green, when my dad was at Florida, he played basketball as well. So early on, he played with Torian, and Torian was recruiting me even when I was playing football, when the rest of the staff wasn't really paying attention to me as a basketball player yet. So when I was, just playing basketball, just having fun, not really taking the approach to just play basketball. He was still like watching me and watching the progress, all the work I was putting in. So just that bond that me and him was able to build, and just being able to go to work with him every day and get better, and then obviously play for Coach Todd, and then other factors is staying home, obviously get to play in front of friends and family. That all that plays a part into why I chose that, being able to play in front of my mom and dad. They can make any game. To be honest with you, they might make all the away games as well. But just having friends and family, that background, and then just feeling comfortable. And that's pretty much the most important thing. I just want to be comfortable, but know I get pushed every day to become an NBA player.
So and so for people that don't know, I mean, like I said, they know your dad, and you can look at you and see what kind of athlete you are. But describe yourself as a player. What are the Florida Gators getting in CJ Ingram?
A dog. That's the main thing I can be able to tell you. A dog. Somebody that's gonna be able to guard the best player. Not really worry about scoring all the time, do all the dirty work. But if it comes down to it, if I have to score, I can. And then obviously, all the other factors, defending, like I said, rebounding, and then my playmaking ability. So just being an all around player and doing anything that it takes to win. That's most. I feel like that's what's most important about my game.
Rob, you got a question for CJ?
I'm just saying, I love hearing you talk. I mean, I love it. Look, Florida's got a great one coming in you, because it sounds to me like you're a team player and you're going to push everybody. And you would be the kind of teammate that if somebody's not giving 110% at halftime in the locker room, I would not want you staring me down. I just want to keep listening to you talk. Congratulations, man. I'm proud of you.
I appreciate you. That means a lot.
Yes. So CJ,
I want to ask CJ, what do you love about basketball the most? What do you love about the sport of basketball? What like, you're an athlete no matter what you do. So why basketball?
I mean, basketball was always the sport I wanted to play. Football, I was just recruited heavily for being an athlete and just making plays. All the success that we had in football, it just basically overshadow everything that I did in basketball. But basketball, that's just my first love. I didn't start playing football until I was 8. I played basketball when I was around 3 or 4. So
But are you like nostalgic about it a little bit? You know, you walk out, you're on the hard, you know, you get on the hardwood, you know, you hear the squeaks, you know, it's like it's different. I played basketball, I played football. You get up, but you know, you get on the football field, you got to get your pads on, you got to go out practice every day. You know what I mean? It's harder on your body in some ways it's not. I just was wondering if you had something that you know, you really loved about basketball, like since you were a kid.
Um, you know, to be honest with you, that's a great question. I couldn't really like tell you why basketball. I mean, obviously, I would say I love it, but that's not really a great answer because that's what a lot of people would say. But
Well,
to be honest with you, my main goal,
Of the game, that's for
yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah.
well, no,
So
I mean, but that's a great answer to be honest. You know, it shows maturity to actually say I don't know what to say in that answer. So I think that's exciting. Are you excited about being a Gator?
absolutely can't wait to get on campus and get this show rolling.
So after you mentioned going to the NBA, obviously that's the goal, and but I know Miss Kendra about them books too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yes, sir.
what are your plans? What do you plan to study at Florida, and then after basketball is done, what do you want to get into?
Honestly, we was actually talking about this recently because she said, like I said, you know that she's all about the books, no matter what. That's what comes first. So that's something I've been debating about. Sports management has been the conversation. Sports medicine, that's a difficult task, but I'm willing to try as well. But um, I'm still trying to weigh out those options because can't play basketball, but for forever. But to be honest with you, I've been so focused on basketball, but school is important just as well because without school you won't be able to play. So that's definitely something I've been trying to think about, and hopefully I can come to a decision soon.
Well, that sounds good, man. Well, we really appreciate you being on. We don't want to hold you too long, but maybe once you get on campus, we have you back on, see how things are going. But
Yeah,
we really
man.
appreciate it, and you got a lot of fans on here that looking forward to having you out, having you here, getting ready to see you out there, and we'll be watching you this winter, see how that season goes, and you bring home another state title in hoops, and then head on to Gainesville for the real deal. But really appreciate you coming on, man.
Now I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right,
All
man.
right.
Thanks, CJ. Be well.
Gators.
Good luck. Good kid, man. I
Wow,
like
wow.
that
He's
question.
really
from
well
Brendan.
spoken, right? Good,
Yeah,
well
great
spoken
kid,
guy.
man. A
Yeah.
great family. No mom. Obviously we know dad, and he's got a nice village around him, man. So I could see why, choosing to come to Florida was was definitely just a dream come true, and a must for him. And I know that, it was a slow process for him, man. I could remember last spring, he didn't have many offers really at all in basketball, and then this summer, man, it just jumped out the frame. So
Wow. He's going to be exciting. The program's going to be exciting this year. We talk a lot of SEC basketball this year. Rob and I did.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a
Oh,
ton
God,
of it
yeah.
in just the
Yeah.
emergence of SEC basketball as a whole.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
the chat is chomping at the bit here. Lauren Meadows, coach. Everyone's nipping about this potential quarterback controversy, not controversy. We're gonna have to talk about it. I've obsessed over it for far too long today. I've made my pros and cons lists.
Right.
None of them make sense. None of them make sense at all, actually. But you said something today that kind of like pissed me off because then I was like, well, I just have to stop thinking completely the other way because now I've got to think about that. Because you said, well, what about sort of the play calling, and obviously the competition is different, all those things said. But why don't you kick off? Is there a quarterback controversy in Gainesville between DJ Lagway and Graham Mertz?
No, there is not a quarterback controversy.
Why?
As much as people don't want to hear it, and one thing I'm not going to hear as well is this show been on a long time with a lot of different people. Absolutely no politics, folks. This is about football.
Oh yeah, get it out.
Game, other sports. Let's just keep it.
Love you, Wally, but we'll have to boot you, dude, if you do it again.
So, but anyway, I just think that when you look at it, there is no cut and dry way to make a change. I mean, and I just don't see it. I don't even think that the parties at B see it that way. It just, when you look at it was a great sample, but like I told somebody, let's say that Florida, because Graham Mertz got us in the best run plays, and that's part of playing quarterback, and we rushed for 275 and he threw for 225 and 3 touchdowns. Would it be any different? And they play quarterback a different way. Like Rob said, they were running by the Sanford. It just is a different animal when you look at it. Now, obviously, DJ Lagway, you can say, well, okay, let's see what he does against Texas A&M. But you have a young man who, throughout the spring, throughout the fall, throughout the prep week to Miami, was clearly the number 1 quarterback. And then he went out and had his worst game after, that would have been his 11th. So after his 12th game, finally had a bad game against a team that a lot of people feel like now, well, they're a top 10 team, and right now, if the season ended tomorrow, they'd be in the playoff. I just don't see how you can make that change. Now, I will say this. Let's say that Graham Mertz goes out and the offense just is not moving. It's just not just not going. And then you go to the righty. You go to the bullpen and you go to the righty. And then it starts to flow. Well, now you got something to think about because you have the same sample size. But using Sanford to justify benching a 6-year starter, and like somebody said earlier today, Mertz is going to be the starter. And if you look at the issues that people are talking about, if you can't beat Texas A&M with a 6-year quarterback, then you wasn't going to beat them anyway. And that's my thing, is I just don't think it's time for a change right now. I just don't. I don't think we've seen enough of either quarterback in this with the way this team is assembled to make the change.
I totally disagree with you, and that's cool.
I know you do.
Because I'm just gonna tell you right now. Look, dude, you're fighting for your life. You're Billy Napier. You're fighting for your job right now. You need to win, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You need to put the best guy out there that's gonna give you the best opportunity to win. And there is no way. I don't care, I'm call me prognosticator, whatever you want. I can look to the looking glass. Look, we're going to look at these 2 careers and we're going to say, Graham, yeah, that guy, Graham Mertz. Yeah, Graham Mertz. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah. And then we're going to be like DJ Lagway because we'll know him by household name. It's like, Tim Tebow and Chris Leak had a baby. It's like, it's like, didn't you see him out there though?
But
like,
you mentioned Tebow.
No,
but you mentioned
I haven't
Tebow.
won in 300 plus days.
But
Do you know that?
Yeah.
There's not been a win for.
But you were going to beat Sanford. They could have beat Sanford with the Colorado State transfer. They were going to beat Sanford.
What did Mertz do
no matter what?
Okay. What did Mertz do against the McNeese Cowboys last year? I mean, he didn't light it up like a Christmas tree.
But didn't they win 48-7?
Yeah,
they ran
like 400 field goals.
I
hear you, but I'm like, dude, you got to win. Rob, what do you think?
I mean, I agree. You've got to win. You got to win. WIN stands for whatever is necessary. But the problem is you've got to hold your locker room together. But if these 2 guys, care about each other, what they're going to be doing is, like, if you've ever been in a situation in business, you'll have all the success in the world you want as long as you don't mind who gets the credit. And it's about the team. And that's what you got to have happen. But I'll tell you what, you look at A&M, we don't really know that much about A&M. They struggled to do anything offensively against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame lost for the 3rd time in Marcus Freeman's short career as a double-digit home favorite. They lost, when they were 22-point favorite against Marshall. They lost as a 16.5-point home favorite against Stanford, and then 28.5 at home against Northern Illinois. Saw a great thing about Marcus Freeman today. Guy's got 6 kids. He's converted to Catholicism, and he's reinstituted the Mass the day of the game. And I know his agent, so I like him. And he's from Southeast Ohio, by the way.
Yeah, he's from Southwest Ohio.
I think I know someone from there. Am I pointing at him on the screen?
I said I coached against Marcus. I've known Marcus. He was in 9th grade. Coached his brother in the All-Star game. Mike Freeman, great family. Rooting for Marcus for sure.
I am too.
Yeah, like I said, I just think that, and like you said, you talk about must win, Brendan, but there's so many things other than quarterback that this team, it's like you're blaming Graham Mertz for everything. Not you in particular, but I think when you make this change, you're saying, like somebody said, would we have beaten Miami with Lagway at quarterback? I don't think we would have. We wouldn't.
I think everyone's better when he's on the field. I think the offense holds the ball longer. I think defense gets a little more breather. I think the defense run ragged out there. I don't think that they believe that they can win with Graham Mertz. And I think that's what Rob's point is so great. This is an intangible. These guys know that this exists now. This is like, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. The whole locker room knows this exists now, in my opinion. And you could be totally wrong. But these guys are going to want to win. Winning is funny. It is infectious. Right. But you get one on there and you're like, damn, that was good. I don't care if we beat Sisters of the Poor and Blind. Like, I don't care. We won. It was a win. It felt good to win. And I think people missed it.
Well, so you're going to walk in. This guy's this been your guy. And you're going to walk in. You're the coach. And you say, too bad, too sad. We making the change.
You're making $800K. Love ya.
I'll see you.
Hey, what? You're making $800,000, bro. Yeah. You're gonna have to ride pine, and you're gonna get healthy again, and give yourself a better shot. That's not a bad deal.
No. I'm trying to be very. And all actuality, I'm trying to be very careful because I don't want to be a person that sows any discord, particularly on the roster, anything like that. I don't know who watches this show. I know who's watching now, but.
I don't care.
But no. And that'll be the headline. Brendan Martin,
no one cares what I think.
Producer of the Buddy Martin Show, and SEC Sideline says the Gators should go in a different direction. And I'm gonna tell you, I talked to a bunch of people that played at a lot higher level than we did. My high school quarterback, who was in two quarterback competitions at 2 different schools. And he said the same thing you did. So full transparency. I'm just I'm the devil's advocate. And you and I both know I don't really care who they play at quarterback. I don't think any of us do. We just want to see, even Rob being an Auburn fan, because Florida's in the SEC, wants to see Florida do well as well. Plus, I think, since he's been hanging out with us, he's kind of grown to like the Gators a little bit more. But I think that's where we are, Rob. It's just we'll see.
Well, what Brendan, both of y'all make great points. It's a diametrically opposing argument that can be made. But the free market, the locker room's going to tell you who needs to start. And also the offensive line. Brendan makes so many salient points. Man, the defense, everybody starts playing at another level when they really believe they can win. A lot of teams will say, I think we can win this game. Then there are the ones who say, I know we're going to win this game. We're going to kick your ass. Okay, confidence. And nothing exudes confidence like having a roster full of guys who have really, really prepared well. I see this with Billy Napier and Hugh Freeze. God love them both. But you get a little of that Debbie Downer, man. I don't like that. I want confidence. I had a guy, what was the guy, Brendan, on the show this morning said, Hugh Freeze, his reaction after that loss to Cal, he goes, I was ready to start drinking heavily. Okay. Wow, yeah. You've got to come in there and say, guys, look, we got this. Have that mentality. We lost an engine. We lost a game. We got 3 more. We're going to be okay. But you can't stay beat. It's one thing to get beat. It's another thing to stay beat. And that if you got a quarterback issue, it will destroy your locker room. It's so hard to have dual quarterbacks. When y'all had Tebow and Chris
that was
Leak, oh
different.
my
We were
God,
winning.
that was walking a fine line, but you did it. And you won a national championship.
Yeah.
Damn right I want the Gators to do well because they're in the SEC, but I've always followed Florida because they always played Auburn forever. But, man, I watched DJ Lagway against Samford. And there's an old saying, if a dog will bite, he'll do it when he's a pup. You don't have to look at DJ long like that Supreme Court interpretation of a certain thing. You don't have to be a genius to know it when you see it. That kid is he's on another level. I mean, that's a Kentucky thoroughbred out there with a bunch of mules. I mean, he's ready to get out in the pasture. It's just a matter of time. And I know it may hurt some feelings, but that's just the way it is. He's on another level. I haven't seen a quarterback like that come in this league and that big and that fast and that athletic. I can't remember one. I mean, you have to go back to Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, that kind of guy.
Yeah. Lauren, you're not going to tell me as a coach or as a Gator, look, now you got triple threat guy back there. Okay. He doesn't take a sack, right? That's pretty cool. I know it's Samford. I get it. But now you got a guy he's going to freeze that defense 1 extra second because you got to watch him. You got to put a spy on him, right? Now you lose a guy, right? Now that's a lot, right? Now it's like so now you watch the progression of his drop back and release and how fast he releases the football. He gets rid of the ball quickly. He gets it there on time. We were talking about it 2 weeks ago in the Miami game. We said, look at the timing of these receivers. I mean, and let's be honest, he also can throw the deep ball. So, and that is like, defenses know Graham Mertz now. That's another thing. There's a lot of SEC film on Graham Mertz. You got a whole season to look at him. Everyone's, you need something else because you don't have a whole lot. But, like Urban Meyer, said, a la last year in the podcast with Dad and I, he just said, look, you have more. You don't have to. You can win without the best personnel on the field if you've got some really good players in key positions and you do things like run spread option and you spread the field out and you let these guys get in space. And, you don't want to get your guy hurt. I get it. No question. But I mean, I'm just talking about like if I'm Billy Napier, there's a lot of reasons why I got to play him on Saturday. Because there's a lot of boosters I want to go see. I just feel like you roll out there with Graham Mertz, you go 4 and out, 3 and bam, bam, your first quarter sucks. You better be thinking about putting him in. And that's that right there is going to be a bigger controversy than just starting him in the beginning.
Well, and that's what brings me back. For whatever I said, what's the first thing I said? He can't win.
No, he can't win.
He can't win.
You did
because
say
that's right.
You cannot. It is at this point, and my thing is, and unfortunately, like you said, not just what coaches get paid, what the players are making, but in a lot of ways, Billy Napier, in my opinion, has not. I think if things had gone differently in a lot of ways the first 2 years, this would be different. And what I will say is, like you said, I think, Brendan, now you're to the point where the optics of this thing are so mucked up that, like I said, I mean, and somebody asked me this, and maybe I shouldn't say this to get anybody any ideas, but I wonder what is that going to do to Mertz? If Mertz runs out that first, how is he going to be received even?
Well, and he goes 3 and out.
Well, no.
He's going to be boo birds
before he even does this.
There will be a faction,
right? So I think that like I said, I don't envy Billy Napier in this one because not only are you staring down the barrel of a decision, but you're staring down the barrel of the decision 6 games under 500, and with that, you're just. I really think. I think on this show sometimes we come up with a lot of answers, but tonight really all we got is opinions, and those answers are based on a lot of facts and experience. But what we got here is just. I agree. You got it, and that's why I didn't like the. You go back to the first series when they ran Wildcat and put DJ Lagway out wide.
Yeah,
I would have kept him at quarterback stayed in the pistol
I
because
hated that
now
call.
you got to account. Yeah, that was a horrible call. You
I
got to
hated that call.
You got to account for him as a runner. So I mean, you bring up great points. I just don't know how you pull it off when Graham Mertz, for all we can say, better, not as good, can't do everything. But the one thing we can't say is that Graham Mertz has been bad. He's been bad.
He was bad in Miami.
And they didn't help him. We sat here all this time and talked about the horrible play call. They did not help him against Miami. Your job as a coach is to help your players play better. They did not call the same plays against Miami. Now, that's another point, and we could get to that here, is there's speculation that somebody else was the primary play caller against Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Billy Napier was the primary play caller against Sanford.
Yep.
So, then that lends itself to, does Billy say, well, hey, I didn't call the
Can
plays
you say what the
Miami.
speculation is, or you can't say?
No, I can't say.
Okay.
I've heard it from multiple sources. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
From multiple reliable.
I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
So,
know it.
but I mean, so I think there's so many variables. And then, like I said, Rob, in the back of our mind, this is the SEC. And if Florida doesn't learn to tackle somebody, it ain't gonna matter.
Well, look, and Brendan and I talked to all these other schools, and we talk Florida, all 16 every day. We have guests, and we're talking about their schools, but inevitably we touch on all 16 every day. Right now, based on the first two games, who gives you the best? Whoever the coaches will know in practice. And it's got to translate from the practices to the field on Saturdays. So I don't know how many reps with the ones DJ Lagway is getting right now, but it matters how many reps you get.
Yeah.
What would y'all guess?
I think you got to be splitting. I think you got to be splitting reps. There's no question, because you got to be. I mean, like I think Graham Mertz is. I think their attitudes work really well. They're simpatico. So your hope is that they both play and they both play well. They platoon in, and and they get some of that Steve Spurrier magic going back in the day. So I mean, and that's a thing. Especially with this offense, I could see that, because you've got all that opportunity. I just don't know if Florida's got the ability to get the personnel on the field off and on correctly in that moment, if that's not going to cause it even more. So I really feel like that they have an opportunity to really do something ballsy, or Billy does, to go out and make a statement and start DJ Lagway. I think you come out there, the flipping swamp's gonna go nuts. If that
I would agree. Now, I would agree with that.
They are gonna freak out.
So we want to tell you about our sponsors, Titan MRI, serving Gainesville, Lake City, and surrounding areas. Titan MRI is Gainesville's newest independent MRI facility, and they do everything they can to make you feel comfortable. If you're a person that doesn't really like to go to hospitals or wait in line, and how some of that could be, Titan MRI is a wonderful experience.
That's you don't like waiting in line.
Make you feel right at home. I'm super claustrophobic, so I would definitely be a Titan MRI. Give me some headphones and some Demerol.
They got the double-sided like tubes in there, like for athletes and stuff. So that's you go in there. You're cozy, dog. Hey, how about that answer? How about that answer from CJ? What he said? What are you gonna call yourself? What was it? What was the question?
He said, I'm a dog.
He said, I'm just dog.
Yeah, I'm a dog.
I'm the dog. What do you want to tell everybody? I'm the dog.
Yeah, I mean, and he is. I mean, he's. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, he is so athletic, man. I mean, his bounce is almost like natural. I saw him play against Gainesville High, and I mean, he was just going and getting. I mean, he just erases things. And the thing about him is he was getting recruited as a receiver, not as a quarterback. So I mean, he's going to be a guy that can guard 2 to 3 positions at Florida. I mean, he will play just on his length and athleticism alone. And what I've seen from him in the summer, the clips I've seen, is that mid range game is nasty.
Yeah. Well, he'll be here for about a hot second, and then he'll be a pro.
Yeah,
so.
probably so.
Let's not get too excited now. He'll be gone for it'll be like 2 seconds.
I wanted to ask him. It sounds like Florida's in line for the Boozer twins as well.
Yeah.
So they're top 50 guys. One is in the top 5. The other one's right there in the bottom 50. Sons of twin sons of Carlos Boozer. Some people might have seen Carlos on the sideline at Miami. So the Gators are definitely in play for the Boozer twins as well. So
hey, I wanted to get Rob. Rob, I wanted you to look at this. We were talking about this earlier today. By the way, when we say we're talking about this, we're talking about Rob's show that we do in the mornings, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern, same kind of deal. Come and join us in the chat. Rob does a great job. We go around the SEC every week for every school. We talk to somebody in every town. It's a great show. Check it out. All right, so here we go. Mike M. I think I brought it up here. Mike M. makes a pretty great point. The Gators, obviously, this is a thing. And Rob, we talked about this earlier today. What do you say? What say you about the Gators issue is not quarterback. It's the offense and defensive line. Obviously, we talk about that in the SEC. Mm-hmm. It is a line of scrimmage game. Yeah. And both sides of the ball are terrible. What do you say, Rob?
Well, I mean, it's true. That's your problem. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is if he's scared to death. Someone brought it up this morning. We had Rodney Orr, Tighter and Sider on, and Jalen, and then Yancey Porter, Rebel Yell Hotline. And Yancey pointed out, he said, if you had the offensive line, they got to get it together at Alabama. But he was saying, you put Jalen Milroe out there and he's not so concerned about getting smacked. He's a different player. I mean, he's having some issues learning a new offense and all. But it's so hard to find offensive linemen and defensive linemen. But it's all about the line of scrimmage. And we hear this a lot, but you're starting to see a problem. The 2 and 3 deep depth charts in the SEC in the upper half, they've always been loaded. Well, a lot of those guys aren't sticking around. They're going into the portal. They're going somewhere else. They're not staying behind. They're not being developed. On the flip side, you better be paying attention to what Matt Rule is doing at Nebraska. 56% of his players are in-state kids. He's been to every high school in the state, I think, so far. And they've got some portal guys. They're going back to the old Tom Osborne, Frank Solitz model. It's a line of scrimmage for Florida. You've got some new guys coming in. Freshman LJ McCray is as big a badass as there is. But you need – those guys can play about 38, maybe 40 snaps a game at maximum. They've got to have rest, so you got to rotate those guys out. And Brendan, I agree with you. And every person we talk to in this league, look at Ole Miss. Here's why they're so good. They got 12 defensive linemen that coaching staff trusts. That's scary.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I agree. I mean, I think we referred to it. I mean, it's still a game that's played in the muck, and I think that's why you see some of the linebackers in this league that have the ability to play downhill because they are shielded by great defensive linemen, a great nose tackle that can gobble up double teams and allow you to play downhill, and then up front. I'm going to disagree with Buck Wade because I think you could give him Florida's offensive line and the West Coast offense, and he'd complete every pass he wanted to. But that's another story. Another story because I think he's that good. But no, I mean, I think in the big scheme of things, like you said, it's still a line of scrimmage league. And I think, Rob, you brought up a good point, and you've talked about this at a lot of times on your show and even on this show, the depth and I think that's why you maybe see some of these ACC / used to be Pac-12 teams, Big Ten / used to be Pac-12. They're able to kind of handle themselves a little better against these SEC schools early in the year because you don't see the depth that you used to see in the 2s and 3s because those guys aren't sticking around. That's why you see, I think, a USC go toe-to-toe with an LSU and really hold their own on the offensive line. That's why you see a Cal. I mean, when would you ever think that Cal would be more physical than an Auburn football?
Well, yeah.
And I mean, you see some of those things now because our ones a lot of time are equal. We all recruit the same kids. We pull from these places.
Yeah.
But it's the twos that have always made a difference, just like Florida that year with Ohio State. I mean, yes, Derek Harvey and those guys were getting after it, but it was wave after wave after, I mean, it was just continued pressure and keeping the heat on. So, I mean, I think that, Florida has to improve in all phases. And maybe you're right, Brendan. I mean, maybe I would hate to think that one man could lift the entire play of a unit. And I don't know if that helps Cam Jackson handle double team better if Lagway's out there, but maybe it does. Maybe it gives Asa Turner a different lift and that kind of thing. And who you pointing to? Danny Werfel?
Yeah, that's one of the guys. That's a guy that elevated some stuff.
Yeah, but
there's Tim Tebow over here. He elevated some stuff. I mean, Tim Tebow didn't get people excited, did he? He didn't put entire teams on his broken back and leg and carry them.
I mean, with no disrespect to DJ Lagway, he got a long way before he's the motivator.
Hey, you know what? I'm not saying he's not that guy, but I'm saying he could be that guy. And I'm saying right now, what I saw is very, very straightforward to me. Look, your best chance to win with the personnel that you have right now is DJ Lagway. I'm not taking away from the athleticism of Graham Mertz. I'm not taking away from his 2023, season, which I was looking at his stats a second ago. I'm not even going to delve into all that stuff. But as a quarterback, I think right now DJ Lagway is better than Graham Mertz. And I would take him and start him and see opposite teams. I think he's the better guy. And I think if you're really going to be fair to say to your guys in the locker room, if you play better, you're going to start. That now there's no, you can't have loyalty because the best guy's got to be, has got to be the field general. And what I'm saying is that he leads by example in a lot of ways, and his play is so, and we're just starting. You imagine what's going to happen when he starts to really get comfortable. And I just feel like right now you can win with the guys that you have. And I'll finish with this because I don't think we have actually seen the full potential of a lot of these athletes on offense and defense.
Oh, no,
I don't think they're as bad as we think they were. I think there's just been some key positions that haven't really been able to light it up. I love Graham Mertz. I think he did Omen's job coming in and did what he did last year. No question. I love him as a Gator forevermore, but he's not the better guy right now. And Florida needs to win right now. And I just feel like you're just going to have to make a really hard decision, but that's why you got 26 mil coming towards you, baby. Like, I don't care, make a decision and go with it. And I think Gator fan deserves that opportunity as well as the Gator players deserve the opportunity, because you can't be loyal to one guy and then say to everyone else, he's more important than everyone else. And I'm willing to lose than start the best guy. And I don't know how you're going to deal with that. It's a tough deal, but this is why you're the head coach.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
it's a good problem to have. I mean,
and like Rob said, do you disregard practice, meetings? I mean, your team sees all these things too. And I guess, do we disregard as those who have a limited view of things? All we heard all fall, all spring, all summer, all fall. Who was the better of the two? Who was the better? Who did we hear from everybody we talked to, had on the show, Shane's show? Who did we hear was better? We heard Graham Mertz was better.
Well, no, everyone
wasn't even close.
He was going to win the freaking Heisman, bro. What are you talking about? I heard that shit. Graham Mertz was going to win the Heisman. He was a Heisman hopeful.
I think that
you know how I feel about that.
No. Here's the thing. I think when you get into these situations, and this is where we are, and as we kind of come down the home stretch, and Rob, you weigh in too. I think it goes back to the original comment, and you could say this for Billy Napier. Two things. One, the Gators have way more problems than just quarterback, and two, it's a no-win decision. And like I said, Rob, you've been there. You've seen it at Auburn a couple times where they couldn't really decide on who was going to play a quarterback. I mean, it's almost like a wait and see kind of deal with this team because whoever they decide to go with at quarterback, if they don't stop anybody, if they don't start running the ball a little bit more, it's really not going to matter.
Yeah, look, I like that bring back Gatorback chant. I mean, Florida's an intimidating place to play. You know what? And you may not have the most talented team, but you can damn sure have the toughest get after your ass team. And I thought Billy Napier was more of a hard ass than what I'm seeing. Just looking at him from my perspective, he's just subdued. And if I'm a player, I don't like that. And you mentioned the Muck, Immokalee, Clewiston, Pahokee, all these towns. Get these good old Florida boys. What do y'all play? We are the old boys of Florida. I love that. You get back to your damn traditions of what made Florida football a scary brand. I can tell you, when you play Florida, when you're down on field level, historically, decades of watching those games, you're like, good God, where do they get these guys? Get back to that. And I'll tell you, I'm with Brendan. I don't care whose feelings you hurt. You are responsible to your shareholders, your fans who are buying season tickets. And now that people are investing, hey, everybody out there, somebody out there, or a lot of people have a stake in that quarterback or that defensive lineman or that running back salary. So you can no longer say, he's just an 18-year-old kid, don't yell at him. You're getting $500,000 or $800,000, as Brendan referred to. Those days are over. And for these coaches that are making $7, $8, and $10 million a year, 3 words, as Chuck Oliver says, figure it out. Beep, beep, beep. Because there's just don't wait to be great. We got to have you now. I mean, Brendan, you're making great points, and so is Lauren. That's why this is so much fun getting on the show. And I know that if you start a freshman quarterback, I don't care how talented he is, you're going to take your lumps, man. There's going to be times when you're going to go, yeah, he's a freshman, but long term, they're going to have to decide. And you can't also say you got to keep Napier to keep DJ Lagway. I personally think DJ Lagway, from what I hear from a lot of y'all's conversations, loves Florida. It's 3 things that you sell in today's world: campus, coaching, and culture. Y'all have that. I don't know about the coaching part with Billy Napier. I mean, he's 12 and 16. Y'all just deserve more. Y'all should expect more.
12 and 17.
12 and 17. Yeah.
12. Sorry, my apologies.
But I think Rob, we can end all that and we'll talk about Renstar Medical Research, seeking
tomorrow's
answers to
tomorrow's
answers to the questions of today.
You should be a host. You should host a show on Tuesday nights.
Serving around an area.
Okay.
Everything from fibromyalgia to Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
Got it all.
Got it all.
Renstar Medical
MRIs and stuff. It's awesome. No, we're kidding. Those guys are great. Let's see. I don't even have the graphic for them, but Renstar Medical Research been serving in Central Florida for a long time. They do medical research facilities. I'm not reading, by the way. I know this stuff. And they're just a big sponsor of our show for a long, long time. They're like family. And
shout out to the Brantley family.
The Brantley family is just there. It's like family. That people talk about the great Gators being in Gainesville. Listen, some of the greatest Gators of all time live right here in Marion County in Ocala, Florida. And those are the great Gator families, Brantleys and stuff. They're right here in Ocala, and rich in tradition here. Yes, sir.
And
Rob Brown in the back row. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Rob.
I got a question. Dr. David Arnoff, who we all love, made a good point to me the other day. He said, Rob, we all know the Gators on Buddy's show, and on your show, you cover the whole league. Try to get your guests to tell us each time some facts and some history about the different schools. So I'm going to throw it to both of y'all because you just talked about these Gator greats that are there. Two questions. Where is CJ Ingram from? I remember his father playing at Florida. But number 2, throw out some facts, history, a tradition or something like that Gator fans, and just because I've now got a lot of my people that are watching this show because they're going, oh, y'all are on twice a day? I said, you're damn right, 2 a days. And I'm honored to be part of this. Thank y'all for letting me share.
So I'll take the CJ first. CJ is he's from Hawthorne / Gainesville, Florida. So he plays high school. Well, plays for Hawthorne, which is here in Alachua County, smaller school. So he's from Hawthorne, and spent some time in Gainesville as well. And then I'll let Brendan is the lifelong Gator fan, been a Gator fan a lot longer than me. So I'll let him throw it out there. I will say this: I get to see John Brantley every Wednesday during the season, and for those Florida fans that really know what's going on, and you talk about great defensive players at the University of Florida, to see John Brantley right there, sitting there having a steak or drinking a Coke, it's unbelievable. I mean, true Florida fans, he is as Steve Spurrier, as Danny Werfel, as Carlos Alvarez, as anybody else. And the fact that we name a trophy after him and they give it out with the Ocala Quarterback Club is very deserving of a guy that if he played right now would be one of the top linebackers in the country.
Oh, no question. The way he played the game. I had the honor of interviewing his former high school coach. And when we give out the award that first year, and we did really, really great stuff, great tradition in sport. To answer your question, Rob, I've felt this way for a long time. I don't want to get into a political argument about it at this particular juncture. I really feel like as a kid, I grew up on Gator bait. I grew up when I saw the opposing team came out. We all started screaming Gator bait. The whole stat. I remember getting chills up and down my spine when we did that. It was our chomp. It was our answer. It was the drums, in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
It was just sort of like that one thing that we did that was, our thing. And I miss it, and again, I don't want to get into the whole thing. We've had this discussion too many times, and that gets another day. But I really feel like, man, if you're going to come back out of the sort of the doldrums after a decade of being sort of just a lackluster program as far as wins and losses and everything else and all the things that we've been through, you got to be like a la Detroit Piston back in the 80s and 90s. You got to be the bad boys, man. You got to come back, because right now intimidation is what you got to do. You got to come out there and be like, I don't care anymore, because I don't care. What do we care? We're just going to break your leg. Like, you got to have this mentality. And this is the unwritten stuff that athletes, do all the time. And coaches say, I'm going to get blood from them. You're going to go kill them. It's all very, gladiator-esque, I guess. And that's how it works. And that motivates the whole thing. I just feel like love won't back down, but that's not very motivating to me. That doesn't get me really going. I mean, it's cool and it's great, but it's not like just something that's like just Gator bait. And you're just like, you're pissed and the Seminoles come out and you're just sitting there. You've had too much drink probably, and you're just screaming and you just spit's flying out of your stairs going, Gator bait. This is good. And you're pissed off. Then you think of Lawrence Wright screaming on the microphone, if you ain't a Gator, you must be Gator bait. Like, I mean, that was like, well, you're natty,
Yeah.
Like, these are things that are a part of my childhood. So I'm done talking about it. And I know
I'll tell you another one. Like at Auburn, tiger meat. And then at LSU, they used to prod that tiger mic in the cage and put the speaker that would go out all over the stadium. And they would shock him. He'd go, roar!
I don't think we should continue to shock the animals.
No, I'm just saying. But
I'm just singing. I'm just chanting. You know what I mean?
He would just get riled up. It was scary, guys.
Right.
But look,
keep that prod in the closet up there. We're good on that.
but throw some meat in it. But the thing is, Florida, just from a perspective, y'all have a badass culture. I'm just telling you, this is what I see. And make that place as intimidating and as miserable for opponent. Pipe in the damn heat. Architecturally, it's a marvel. Your stadium goes down. It traps heat like a steam bath, and it should be a place that people threat. You talked about adversity. You be their damn adversity.
Yeah,
You come at them. You make their opposing teams wake up at 3 a.m. with nightmares about Florida's pass rush, and they're running. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
and the last thing, and I'm going to say
We're
this.
wild, we're ready to play.
No. This is important. This last thing is I came into the stadium not the beginning of last year before, and I started looking around and I saw changes in the swamp. And I saw the logo start looking a little cartoony, and I started hearing the DJ playing, and I started feeling like the swamp was changing. My atmosphere was changing because I went up and watched up in the touchdown terrace, whatever it's called up there, the sweet place. And I just remember feeling like, man, like, where's the teeth in this? Where's all that? Like, it's hot right now. I don't really want to be here, but I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the fans, they need something. They need to bring that beat back, man.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to start a movement. Didn't they do it? They brought back Rebel Yell. I heard that this was a whole thing one time. Someone told me. Anyway.
Well, I'll end on this. 2 things. You got to win. Winning cures a lot. And I will say this, and we'll end on this. Gator, baby. There you go.
See, it's natural.
That's a scary.
We gotta go, but thanks.
It's scary.
It is scary when you do it over, especially you have a bunch.
And you're gonna make me wake up at 3 a.m. with nightmares.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Who you got on the show tomorrow, Rob?
All right, we got Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com. He is a no holds barred. He's gonna lay it out about what Freeze's better fix at Auburn. We've also got Jake Wimberly, all things Mississippi from Jackson. We got Vince Ferrara, the sports animal in Knoxville, about Mr. Iamali Ava. Dudley Dawson talking about that Petrino offense going. And we will touch on all 16. We've got Brendan, our executive producer, the best in the world.
I never leave the chair. I just sit here.
He lives there. He lives in this little
square.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, he's like 4-minute standby. Hey, an honor to serve with y'all tonight, man. I love it.
Special thanks to CJ Ingram. Really enjoyed having him. I'm Lauren Meadows. We got Rob Brown and Brendan Martin for the Buddy Martin Show. Have a good evening. Thanks, Rob.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.